Folks, when you're dealing with someone who's a veteran or claims to be a veteran, are you finding that that causes you to let your guard down a little bit, even just a little bit? I want to caution you against that. Now, first of all, let me say that I'm a proud U.S. Army veteran. Did 7 years in the infantry, went through Desert Storm and all that. But what happened was a gentleman at my church a few days ago made a comment about an incident that happened here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, that I felt showed a great deal of misunderstanding and potentially misguided trust and complacency towards veterans or even people who claim to be veterans. Now, what happened was in November 2018, this gentleman had bypassed several restricted secure zones to make it to the top of a building where there's a helipad. And at this helipad, at the top of the building, he tried to start a fire. He was uncooperative when he was arrested by police, and because he's of Hispanic descent, he was ultimately turned over to ICE. And it wasn't until a few days had gone by that this gentleman's own family, when they came looking for him, brought evidence and proof of his identity and the proof that he was a U.S. citizen and a U.S. Marine veteran, combat vet at that. Of course, what made national news was not all the things he'd been doing wrong, but they focused on the fact that a U.S. citizen was detained by ICE, and it became a big national drawn-out story, blah, 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 about police racism and so on. This gentleman at church made a comment that, in reference to that incident, that the police could have and should have handled this situation very differently, I think even to the point of letting this man go, upon learning not only his citizenship, but the fact that he was a vet. Now, here's where the danger in that kind of thinking comes in, okay? First of all, let's not forget, again, that this gentleman bypassed several restricted areas to make it to the top of a building at the helipad where he attempted to start a fire. And in this day and age, it should make anyone suspicious and raise an eyebrow about that. Anyway, the other issue is that police officers, most of whom are veterans also, like myself, who deal with a situation like this, are not going to forget the fact that people like Timothy McVeigh perpetrated the Oklahoma City bombing, right? In 1995, Timothy McVeigh was a former U.S. Army veteran, Desert Storm vet at that. We also remember that it was an active duty major who perpetrated the Fort Hood, Texas shooting in 2009, killing 13 people. We also remember situations like Denozio Garza, a U.S. Army vet, shooting rampage in Houston in 2016. We remember Ian Long, a Marine Corps vet, shooting rampage in November 2018, about the time of our incident, killing 12 people at a bar. We also remember Christopher Dorner, Washington State, not only a former Navy officer, but a former LAPD officer, shooting rampage there. And it's situations like that that police officers keep in the back of their minds, and that is why we are not going to let our guard down, and nor should you when you're dealing with someone who claims to be a veteran or you determine is a veteran. Do not let your guard down. And trust me, there were many, many times in my career that I have contact with people and they would immediately throw out the "I am a veteran" card with such an attitude and demeanor and air of entitlement and sense of expectation of differential treatment. Folks, the police are going to continue to handle situations like this, and they're going to continue to handle it with caution. And so I'm encouraging you to continue to handle situations like this with caution. Don't let your guard down just because someone starts claiming they're a veteran because they may be lying to you, number one. Just remember that the devil is going to use a wolf in sheep's clothing to get close to the target, right? Yes, there are definitely veterans out there who absolutely have earned our thanks and gratitude and deserve the recognition for their service and so on. But I'm just asking you to please remain vigilant of those who will try to take advantage of that sentiment, okay? Be careful.